Hi there, this week I'm going to be talking to you about Juan Pablo Montoya's move back to Indy Car, Dale Jr. and Joey Logano's struggles in week 1, and I'm going to answer some of your questions and read some of your comments. Hey, welcome back to another one of my weekly NASCAR talk show thing, news, I don't know what this really is. It's basically me trying to take those NASCAR ESPN analyst jobs, pretty much. And I'm not doing a very good job of it. But this week I'm going to be talking to you about a couple major headlines. I'm not even sure if I'd call them major. I guess nothing really big has happened so far this week, so I'm basically just going to keep recapping the events of last week at Chicagoland, along with looking ahead to the final 10 races. So I want to start out by talking about probably the biggest headline is that Juan Pablo Montoya has announced that he will drive for Penske Racing in the Indy Car series. No longer will he be in NASCAR as of 2014. And that's an interesting topic, because I know a lot of you race fans, NASCAR fans at least, never liked Juan Pablo Montoya, and I'm not 100% sure why. I know he's had some just kind of like brain dead moments before in the past, but he's won before. He's not like he's terrible. I would not call his Sprint Cup NASCAR career a complete failure. Maybe it wasn't as good as what we were hoping, but I would not call it a failure. I mean, look, he's finishing 20th in points, but he's competing. He's getting a few top 10s, a couple top 5s a year. He's competing for wins. He almost won Dover a few months ago until the last restart he got passed. But so I mean, I would not call his Sprint Cup career a failure by any means at all. I would just say maybe a little disappointing considering what he accomplished back in IndyCar. So I think it is definitely a good fit for him going back there. For those of you who are not caught up with anything I'm saying right now, just to recap, he was about last week he was announced that he would not be with Earnhardt Ganassi Racing in the 42 car. The 42 next year will be occupied by Kyle Larson, the rookie young phenom that's not even spent a full year in the Nationwide Series yet. He's already getting a call up, so good for him. But back to Montoya, I think going back to IndyCar is definitely what he needed to do. That's where he belongs, in my opinion. He's a good driver. He could definitely hold his own, I think, in the Sprint Cup Series. It's not like that's really out of the question, like he just couldn't handle it. Like I said, he contended for wins here and there. He wasn't going to make the chase. He wasn't a really big contender to make the chase. I think he made it once, if I'm saying that, if I'm thinking correctly. But so he wasn't a disaster. He wasn't a start and park terrible driver. So he did a decent job, but definitely IndyCar is where he belongs, and I think he will be a lot more successful there in the years to follow. So I'll be interested in looking at his story after this season. Another thing, I got a comment, or a few comments. I want to recommend one from Super Eevee Master, left a comment saying, my dad said everyone beyond Jeff Gordon is out, and so that made me want to look up the point standings, and I wanted to just kind of see who is behind Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon, after last week, is 7th in points, and he's 24 points behind Matt Kenseth for the chase points lead. Behind Jeff Gordon is Ryan Newman, Clint Bowyer, Casey Kane, Greg Biffle, Joey Logano, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, like I documented in my episode a couple of days ago, Joey Logano and Dale Jr. both had engine failures in the race Sunday night, and so that is why they are 11th or 12th and 13th right now in the chase. But as for is everyone else behind Jeff Gordon out, I'd have to say no. To be honest, I think Jeff Gordon's further out of it than Clint Bowyer or Casey Kane is, but y'all know I don't like Jeff Gordon. So I had Clint Bowyer and Casey Kane finish being top 5 championship contenders, and I still do. I think it feels like my only problem with Clint Bowyer is with the whole MWR thing. I think that's definitely a distraction. He's definitely not quite as into it as he was probably a few weeks ago. So that I don't know if that's really going to hurt him. These first couple weeks might hurt him, and if it hurts him enough, then I think it'll put him far enough out of championship contention that he'll have no chance. But Casey Kane, he didn't run that well, I know, Sunday at Chicagoland, but I was surprised by that. I figured Casey Kane would probably be the 4th title contender behind Kenseth, Busch, and Johnson. I have them as the top 3, obviously. Most people should if they don't already. But I had Casey Kane right there. I thought he was going to be in the mix because, I mean, think about it. He lost out to Matt Kenseth 3 times this year. And if he won at least even just 2 of those, he would have 4 wins. He would have been the 2 seed coming into the championship. Or tied for the 2 seed, I guess. But because he's had some bad breaks, gotten caught up in wrecks with Kyle Busch. We all know about that. It forced him to have to get a wild card spot, which for one thing definitely didn't help him because he wasn't able to get the bonus points from his 2 wins. But I just think he's a little streaky. He's been inconsistent this year. He's had those races, like I mentioned, where he has those 3 second-place finishes along with the 2 wins. But he's had a few races, more than most of these title contenders, where he just kind of runs back around 20th place, and you're kind of sitting there afterwards like, well, where was Casey Kane in all this? I mean, Casey Kane, you expect him to be running, especially in that Hendrick car. He's been doing this for the last couple of years now, running up in the top 5, top 10 weekly. So it's definitely a little surprising to see him not start the chase off quite as well as he was probably hoping for. But that's about all I had to say on that. As for people behind Jeff Gordon being out, Super Evie Masters, Dad, no, I think everyone except Joey Logano and Ryan Newman still have a chance. Ryan Newman, I don't think has a chance only because it's Ryan Newman. I really think he doesn't really deserve to be in the chase to begin with. Joey Logano, he's 12th in points, and I just think Joey Logano or Dale Jr. Dale Jr. is on the fence, I'll be honest, guys. He's 13th in points. He's 53 points back. That's more than a full race, and we're not even 2 races in yet. So Dale Jr. is definitely in a little bit of a hole right here, so he's going to need a heck of a good couple of weeks here if he wants to bring himself back into it. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. I got some other comments, or I'm going to answer questions here from a couple people that posted. One that I found really interesting, and I know this is going to go back to my video about a week ago where I know I said stuff where I did not think Jeff Gordon deserved to be in the chase, and I still am kind of on the fence. I still think he probably shouldn't be in the chase, but, I really don't care. I understand NASCAR didn't have a right answer in this case, so I'm fine with their decision. But this comment, it was from a Jack, or a Deer Hunter Cowboys fan. He asked, do you think that if some other driver in Gordon's position, do you think that if it was some other driver in Gordon's position, NASCAR would have taken the action they did to help Gordon make the chase? The answer to that is no. There's maybe one other driver that had he been in Jeff Gordon's position, they would have let him in the chase. If it had been anybody else, and well, that one driver is Dale Earnhardt Jr. If it was Jeff Gordon or Dale Earnhardt Jr. there in that position, they would have probably been able to make the chase, and Jeff Gordon obviously did. But I think if it was any other driver, even somebody like high profile, like Jimmy Johnson even, I think if Jimmy Johnson was in Jeff Gordon's position, he probably would not have made the chase. Mainly because once I heard, after the MWR thing and they came out that Truex was out of the chase and Newman was going to be in, right then, every social media in the world that was related to NASCAR in any way was basically exploded with these just angry Jeff Gordon fans. And I'll be honest, a lot of them were blinded. It was blind anger to the point where they were kind of illogical with some of their reasonings, and I read a few of those last week. But a lot of them made some sense, but in the end, it was the big, just like hate, just awful comments. I read them on YouTube videos. I read them on NASCAR.com. I read them on Facebook, Twitter. I read them freaking on MySpace. No, I didn't. I didn't read them on MySpace, but everywhere else, it was blowing up like crazy. People just like threatening death threats and like, oh, I'm never going to watch a NASCAR game. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to burn all my NASCAR stuff. I read so much crazy crap. And I think it just kind of put the pressure on NASCAR to the point where, okay, we got to do something about this. And they knew, they didn't take anybody out of the chase because they knew that there really wasn't anyone that they could take out of the chase. So they just decided to put Gordon in as the 13th driver because his fans were threatening rebellion and like we're going to come out in mobs with pitchforks to Charlotte and just attack the NASCAR people. So they did not want that to happen. So they put Gordon in the chase. Like I said, the only other driver that I think would even have that type of power is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Nobody else I don't think could have been able to do that. Simple as that. So I hope that answers your question. Another question I got was how many other races will Kenseth win before the season is over, and which tracks will they be at? Well, Matt Kenseth has won a series-leading 6 wins this season, which is actually a new career high for him. And I am a Matt Kenseth expert on the subject. So, how many other races will Kenseth win before the season is over? Well, I am guessing between 2 and 4. And here's the thing. He has won 4 out of the, I believe, 7.5-mile track races this year. And we still have 4 of those remaining. So I think of those 4, I am picking him to win Kansas and Texas. later in the year. I don't remember where Kansas is on the schedule. I know Texas is the 8th race of the year because I might be going to that race, so I'll know that one. The other 2 races that I think he has a chance of winning, and I don't know that he will, is Dover, where he basically dominated the race there earlier in the spring until he blew an engine, or Talladega. Talladega, he's going to lead probably the most laps. He's going to lead the most laps at Talladega. He's done it basically every plate race since 2012. But it's all going to come down to the final restart, final couple laps. So that's where I say, just who really knows? He probably won't win because of that, because something will happen to get shuffled out, and there will be some sort of guy nobody's heard about probably winning the race. But I think he does have a chance to win those. So this was from Andy Cruz. Andy, I don't know if you're a Matt Kenseth fan. I hope you are. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm guessing Kenseth will win between 2 and 4. Let's just say 3. Let's say he'll win Dover, Kansas, and Texas, and go on and win this second championship of his career. Let's just leave it at that. And I believe that's all I have. That's the only comments I have really to read. That's really it. Oh well, maybe I'll have more for next week's video. But that's all for me. I will not be seeing you guys again until most likely next Monday after the New Hampshire race this Sunday. And I hope that it's a good one. Like I said, I think that Kurt Busch is going to win this race. I don't know why I think that, because he's probably going to get caught speeding on pit road again. But if he doesn't, I'm picking the Busch brother, the older Busch brother, to go to victory lane this weekend at Loudon. So I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment or question down below that you want me to either talk about or answer on one of my next review videos like this. And I guess that's about it. If you haven't seen it already, check out my W Cup Series Season 3 finale. I uploaded it last weekend, and it's pretty good. So check that out, and that's all from me. So I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.